Hey, how you doing? Welcome. So in this live video, we're talking about, well, usage of your photography and why it's important as part of the pricing model. And a lot of photographers really don't think about this. And so I want to dive a little bit deeper than I normally do and just get into some of the details. And if you have questions, I'll answer them. And of course, I have a few questions that I have received via Twitter, email, and if I have time, some of them from the blog also. And if you have not caught up with me before, you can catch me on Twitter at Rosh Sillars. And of course, put comments right here in this on the replay if you catch us on the replay, or if you're here live, of course, put your questions in the chat, of course. And if you are new to this channel and you are interested in growing your business with understanding pricing structure, understanding how to create a profitable business, this is the place for you to be. I go live a couple times a week to answer questions, again, that I receive through social media as well as right here on this channel. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you. We can work together. And I have an archive of other videos related to this. Some I did pre-recordings. And of course, now I'm doing live all the time to answer questions. So I'm looking forward to connecting with more and more of you over time. So getting into the whole conversation of use, what is this about? And when people talk about use, it's kind of the whole licensing idea. You're licensing people to licensing your photograph for people to use. So when you create an image, you're the proud owner of a copyrighted image. It's the law of the land. It's just the way it is. Even the photos off your cell phone or your brand new camera, or if a friend of yours picks up the camera and takes a picture with your camera, technically it's their photo. You can always argue, but technically the person who created the image, unless you paid them to create that image with your equipment and so forth, and your employees, if you are an employee of a company, you're a representative of that company and they own those images. So here's the deal. So usage, think about this. So we license our photographs to people who want to use our images. And we don't give them the copyright immediately. So we give them a license to use it, just like a software license. That's something that we're much more familiar with today. We buy Microsoft Word or Photoshop or download it from the cloud. It doesn't mean we can then resell it. We're licensing the use at the price we agreed upon. And it's the same laws that apply to our photography. So if you are licensing your photograph to a small mom and pop shop and they want to put your photograph on a flyer, there's a price for that, right? Now, if a big corporation comes around and they have a campaign that they're laying out and they want to put it on 1,000 billboards, your photograph on 1,000 billboards and in magazine ads and full-page newspaper ads and around the world, the value of that image is much different than the one with the mom and pop shop. So the thing is, we have to understand that there is different value of the image based on what traditionally was distribution, was one way to look at it. Another way we can look at it is, hey, how about your website? If you're going to use the photographs on your website, how many people come to your website? And you can charge based off of that. So you can set something up where if it's under 10,000 people a month, and I go by months. So if under 10,000 people a month come to a website that your photograph is going to be on, or even a page, I go by the website. I don't go by page, because if it's a new page, it's zero, right? But the opportunity, and I base my price off of that traffic. So if it's 10,000, if it's over 10,000, over 100,000, over 1 million, I'll have a different price that I will then offer for the client. And so that also helps to determine, obviously larger brands tend to have more traffic. And so it kind of works out. But if it's a printed piece, you can base it off of distribution. A small brochure that is going to be printed 5,000 times versus a brochure that's going to be printed 100,000 times. There is a difference. So you need to set yourself up ahead of time to understand what is that increased value. It can also be based off of region, local use. Most of my pricing, and this is probably what you're used to too, is local pricing. Start off with local pricing. Then you can have regional pricing or maybe state or province pricing. And then you can have your national pricing and your international pricing. So how do you increase that? How do you go about figuring this out? Well, what I like to do is work off of percentages. It's a lot easier than figuring, okay, do I add $100 or $500 or $1,000? Well, no. Just say, look, here's my local price. This is the way I do it. I know this is a national client, so I'm going to double or triple my traditional price for them to use that image. And that will be my bid price versus just a local price. Because again, the value of that image is much greater if the image is going to be used nationally versus locally. So that's the difference. And that's the understanding and mindset you need to take on. Now, if you photograph families, then it's really not as much of an issue. It's really just personal use. That is the use. But it's important for you to state that in the process or within the contract or your proposal that what they are receiving is local use opportunities. So again, I think I mentioned this in the last show, if somebody decides, hey, well, I'm going to run for Congress, I'm going to use that photo, and they're going to advertise it and put it on billboards and all over the place in magazine, well, then that is a commercial use, and they don't have the right to do that. Now, if you don't have anything in your contracts or in your proposals, no paperwork at all, well, then you probably have a problem. It's going to be hard to prove because it's going to be the he said, she said scenario. You said this, but I don't recall. That was 5 years ago when you took that photograph, and I have no paperwork, and you have no paperwork signed saying that I could not use the photograph this way. So that can be tough. So it's really important for you to make sure you have your paperwork in line and make sure everybody understands what the usage will be. And that's the same. And it's the same with your artwork too. That's personal use. And someone can't buy your artwork and then make copies of it and make posters or put them on coffee mugs and sell them. They can't do that without licensing. Like a logo, if you have a local sports team and you want to license their logo to give you some third-party confirmation for your team or for your product, service, or company, again, the same kind of thing. So you can't just take your work and print it all over the place. They have to license that from you. And so that's really the process. So I think you understand where this all goes. It's all about understanding the control and immediacy of your copyright. It's immediate. You have a copyright. It's the law. It's not photographers being mean. And, even if you don't believe in copyrights, you think everything should be free and you take the picture and anybody should be able to use it anyway. That's fine. In my opinion for that is it's fine for you. But don't force that upon me. Don't force me to not make a living off of the work I love to do. And it is the law of the land. And you're licensing it to people to use it however you wish because the law of the land says you own the copyright. And if you don't wish to pursue, I'm not, oh, there we go. We're back in. Since we don't have questions today, you didn't miss anything if this cut out. I noticed it gave me a signal that we were getting a low connection. So let's wrap this up. I'll have more questions next week. Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time, I think is going to be Tuesday and Friday, and maybe Wednesday and Fridays on a regular basis. We'll see how that goes. But right now, next Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time, I'll be live again answering your questions. And if you want something from me, if there's something you want me to address during this show ahead of time, hit me up on Twitter at Rosh Sillars. And of course, you can leave your comment right here. Make sure you subscribe. You have a great day. Looking forward to helping you develop a profitable business. And as we do this together, of course, we make our industry just a little more healthier, which is, of course, our bigger goal. Have a great day.